Woohoo! Hello, hyperspace! My name is Davontos, and it's time to get hyped because this is some really old Diva gameplay. I'm actually uploading this one because this is the only Diva gameplay I have saved up. Yeah, I gotta get some more. But in this video, I actually want to talk about Diva because on Wednesday, I actually found out that Diva is the most played hero in Overwatch among all ranks. I'm talking bronze, silver, gold, masters, and all that stuff. Diva is the most played hero, and me, considering myself a Diva main, and I think, well, I'm actually pretty good with her, I'd actually like to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to play Diva. Now, granted, this is really old gameplay. You see, I don't even have my golden guns yet, but you'll see I do a couple of things with Diva here and there. Does she have her micro missiles in this gameplay? I'm not even too sure that's how old this gameplay is. But anyway, how to play Diva. So Diva is actually what I like to call an opportunistic feeder. It depends on how you play her. You can play her very passively or very aggressively. If you're playing very aggressively, you have to make sure you have backup because she's not as strong as she used to be with the 500 armor. She only has, I think, 200 armor now, 200 armor. And because of that, if you're playing aggressively, you have to do it aggressive, but also be cautious. You have to know who to dive, when to dive them, and how to escape. Your defense matrix is not as powerful as it used to be. Therefore, you only have to use it in sticky situations, or to use it to basically like block an ultimate, like Zarya's Graviton Surge and whatnot. So, if you're going to play an aggressive Diva, you want to focus on doing minor flanks. I mean like really small flanks. A cheap little route to get behind the enemies and just poke at them and then retreat, or get behind them and do a quick little kill or two, maybe on their healers or their squishies, and then retreat. You don't want to stay behind the enemies for too long unless your teammates are actually guaranteed to put them up in a sandwich and squash them. There are times that you want to play a decoy as Diva because she has so much health, defense matrix. You can actually play a decoy if it allows your team to capitalize on it and just wipe out the enemies, and then, you retreat for heals. But keep in mind, one mistake I see a lot of Diva players do is they dive the wrong people. Diva is a diving tank, much like Winston, and because of that, you have to know who to dive. You can never, do not ever, dive a Mei. Mei is a hard counter to Diva. I don't care how good of a Diva you are. I'm a really good Diva, and I can't even stand up to Mei, no matter how bad that Mei is, because Mei doesn't really require much skill, just point and shoot. So, if you're playing Diva, whatever you do, keep away from Mei. Don't engage her unless it's like from really far and you just want to spam her with missiles if you happen to just be a little cheeky. But other than that, just don't engage Mei at all. Don't engage Roadhog. Yeah, you can do a lot of damage to Roadhog, but if he hooks you and he starts pummeling you with them shotguns, it's going to destroy your mech. It may not kill Baby Diva, but it's going to destroy your mech. And when Diva's out of her mech and she's Baby Diva, she's really vulnerable. It's best to just stay back and fire from cover. Or, as you see in this gameplay that I'm going to do much later on, if you're really brave and really good with Baby Diva, you can actually be a force to be reckoned with. But you'll see that happen later when I run into a Torbjorn. And, you also want to keep away from Zarya if her beam is very powerful. If Zarya's targeting you and you see that she's like very weak, her laser beam is only like maybe 10% or lower, then yeah, just dive Zarya, take care of her quickly. But if you see Zarya's at full power or even approaching full power, do not engage Zarya. Obviously, keep away from Reaper, because nobody wants to be close to Reaper, and don't engage Junkrat. Junkrat is very dangerous when it comes down to big targets. The people you want to be diving on as Diva are especially anyone who's out of position, assuming it's not those guys I just mentioned, but if you say, let's see, a McCree, right? McCree is trying to flank to go for high noon. If he's away from your team, that means they're out of position. And if they're out of position, that's when you dive on them, spam them with the missiles, spam them with the shotgun pellets, and down them, and retreat back to your team. If you're going to play very passively, you want to basically give as much fire support as possible and again, only dive people who are out of position. How to know if somebody's out of position? Well, they're just not with their team. This counts as, let's say, a McCree, as I said, flanking for high noon. Maybe there's anybody who just tries to be a flanker is going to be somebody who's out of position, which is somebody you can dive. Again, if it's not those people I mentioned to keep away from. And also, if you want to play very aggressively, it comes down to the same thing. Dive them if they're out of position, or as I said, away from their team in front of you. Do not abuse the nuke. Now, you can earn the nuke really quickly, but it is a very powerful ultimate. A lot of D.Va players tend to just throw the nuke and just hope to get a lot of kills. The best way to actually use D.Va's nuke is not to get kills. You use D.Va's nuke to help clear an objective. Obviously nobody wants to be close to it, so in the heat of the battle, instead of throwing it at the enemies, throw it at the objective, and it will push the enemies away from the objective. The only time you should throw your nuke towards the enemies is if you know you're going to get kills. Let's say the enemies are frozen from Mei, or stuck in Zarya's Graviton Surge, then yeah, throw the nuke at it. But if you are not guaranteed to get a kill, and not even one kill with that nuke, you use it to clear the way for your team. Now, D.Va actually pairs really well with a Winston, and the reason for this is because Winston tends to just jump into the fight, drop his barrier, and start electrocuting everybody. But if you're a really good D.Va player, when Winston dives in there, just follow him, and work with him with his barrier. On top of that, you can cover Winston if he gets too hot and he has to leap away, and you can fly away and all that stuff. So D.Va and Winston work really, really well together. Same thing with D.Va and Genji, because Genji kind of just jumps in there and does his own thing. Well, you can follow him and be a distraction for the enemies, because nobody wants to be close to D.Va, while Genji starts picking people off. The one thing you want to know as D.Va is you want to be in the mech as long as possible. If you're playing D.Va and you're constantly playing as baby D.Va because you're losing your mech too much, that means you're not playing D.Va as she should be. You should be in the mech more than you are baby D.Va. One more thing I want to cover on D.Va are her shotguns. Now, they're shotguns, so the range isn't that great, but for being shotguns, you would be surprised on how far these things can reach. So one way to actually test it is to go to the training ground, and you know that robot that's like on the right side next to the enemy robots that are shooting the friendlies? There's that one robot on the right side, and he has like a bunch of measurements to see how far, 5 meters, 10 meters, and so on. Just stand on one of the meter markers, start shooting that robot, and you'll see how good the range of these shotguns are. They can drain your health pretty quickly at quite a bit of distance. And that brings me on to Symmetra. There's been a lot of times I see D.Va doing D.Va things and then they're tagged by Symmetra's laser beam and they start to freak out. Don't freak out over Symmetra. You have automatic shotguns. You can just pummel Symmetra on top of the micro missiles. Same thing with Winston. I see D.Va that they're tagged by Winston and they start getting electrocuted. D.Va is a hard counter to Winston. Basically, if they're close to you and they're not Mei or Reaper or a full-powered Zarya, you can take them out. You can also dive up on multiple people who like to keep their gunfights at long range like a Torbjorn and just easily take them out. So, that's the end of this video here. There are a whole bunch of different tips I can give you guys for D.Va because I play a ton of D.Va. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below and I'll answer it in another video. And if you like this video, punch that like button with a mighty force. You can follow me up on Twitter at DavantosMan. And as always, I'll see all of you in the next video. Have a nice day.